Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be talking about WuWa's revenue. And obviously, WuWa's revenue has basically been the punching bag when it comes to other gacha games in the sphere. You see a lot of people on forums like r/gacha gaming. They've come up with their own version of their gacha revenue website. And WuWa kind of showing up here at 6.475 million for the month of December. Things like its rerun banner, Zhangli, Yao, and Yinlin. There are just a bunch of people, right, that have been using it as a punching bag in recent days. And a lot of people saying, oh, yeah, the first couple days of 2.0, they haven't been good at all. Oh, this game's gonna EOS. This game's gonna EOS, guys. Right, you see a lot of people just talking about like, oh, why don't you talk about the gacha revenue for December? And it's like, oh, the people paying close attention to the revenue site, they're sweating profusely, blah, 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 all that stuff like that. And the fact of the matter is that WuWa 2.0, ladies and gentlemen, is actually doing very, very, very good. And Narushio over here has basically come out with a translation about Wuthering Waves 2.0's launch and some words from Solon Lee, the CEO of Kuro Games. And what he said was, yesterday, after some extensive preparation, the 2.0 Rinasida update finally launched, and I'd like to share its performance with you. First, the new version exceeded player expectations. People are incredibly happy with how this patch has gone. If you look on Twitter, if you look online, there is quite literally nothing but glazing for this update because of how good it is, how great the flight is, how well the new character Carlotta plays, and obviously, right, the massive improvements that have been made to things like exploration, the story, quality of life, synthesis, all that stuff. Pretty much everything you can think of, it's been improved. Even going all the way to buffing old Sonata sets via the Nightmare Echoes. I can't think of any avenue in the game that hasn't gotten better. And so with that, feedback from the community and surveys highlighted significant improvements in content quality and content quantity and quality compared to previous versions. That means that they've added more stuff, it's better, and in higher quality compared to the previous updates, and people cannot get enough. And so we're really looking forward to, obviously, what's in the second half of 2.0, and what else is going to be in the game moving forward. And so with that, public perception of the game is great. People are very happy with it, nothing but positive praise across pretty much every facet of the community, right? And there's one person I wanted to look up in particular. We've even got, like, let me just go see over here, Ziox, right? Got Ziox over here, right? Very big, prominent Hoyo CC. WuWa 2.0 has been very fun so far and surpassed my already high expectations. But unfortunately, now I am desperately waiting for Zany to be released. So we've even got the biggest Hoyo shills in the business in fervent support of this game. Unfortunately, though, we're probably not going to be seeing Ziox play this game very much because of his, but speculation. And so with that, going back to the translation. On the operational side, so this is kind of like the financial stuff, the logistics, we're thrilled to announce that Wuthering Waves achieved its highest single-day revenue since launch. A milestone for the team, ladies and gentlemen. For every single person, right, that can't stop talking shit about the game based off of, again, mobile numbers, which are using Gacha Revenue's rules, which this website is using as well, where Android is literally just guessed by adding a multiplier onto iOS revenue. It turns out that that's probably not the best way to track the performance of a game, especially when there are different outlets for how people can purchase content in the game. And so with that, we're clearly seeing that from the words of the CEO himself, the game has quite literally never been doing better. And believe me, ladies and gentlemen, the CEO can't really lie about this sort of stuff because the investors, the shareholders, a company like Tencent, they would probably get on their ass if he was literally lying about these things. And so don't believe people like good old Gateo over here, who's insinuating that there's fake news coming out from the CEO. Regarding things like that, because I'm pretty sure Tencent, as one of the biggest companies in the space, biggest investing companies in the space, probably wouldn't be very happy with one of their, subsidiaries lying about their revenue. Some people will say that they are. I think it makes more sense to actually trust the CEO's words and take them at face value. So with that, going back to the post, it's pretty clear that the game is doing very well. It's doing exceptionally well. People are enjoying the quality of it. They want to play more of it and, sprinkle a little couple of dollars on their experience to make it even better because they can do things like pull, get the weapons, blah, 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 get the battle pass, all of that stuff. And so with that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, the game is doing well. The game has never been doing better. So don't believe everything that you're seeing. Realize that a lot of these people have no critical thinking skills, or they're just trolling the entire time. And have confidence when you see a quality product that people are going to want to buy more of it, that people are going to want to play more of it, and in turn support the company throughout that entire process. It's something that I don't think a lot of people can understand. When you make a good game, people want to play more of it. And, you know, when you're playing games like Genshin Impact, when you're playing games like Honkai Star Rail, I'm not going to lump ZZZ in there because I think it's a fine game. It's just the level of brain rot, the lack of understanding, this focus on revenue and the company that makes the most money is suddenly the best one. That sort of mindset takes over because there's nothing that they can stand on when it comes to what their game is bringing to the table, aside from the amount of money that they're making. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll bring up the example again. If revenue generation was the measure of a good company, then Comcast should be the best company ever, right? Because Comcast makes the most money, right, ladies and gentlemen? And so they must be the best ISP in the business, right? They should have a 10 out of 10 review everywhere. But that's not how it works. It's actually one of the worst companies in the business. They price gouge their customers. They have a terrible customer experience. But it just turns out they're one of the only options available for a lot of people. And because of that, they make a lot of money while providing a terrible service. Sounds pretty familiar to me. You might think of at least a couple of games in the gacha space. You know, one like, I think there's one that has like a Lantern Rite event where they locked off the 20 pulls, that are supposed to come with the event. They locked them off after 2 limited banners are running. 2 new limited characters, right? I think the game is called like Genshoi Mutt Pact or something like that. Yeah, it's not a lot of people are not very happy with that game. Yet a lot of people in that game, right, going ahead and saying, oh, this is such a terrible customer experience. Oh, 2 new characters are in phase 1 and then all the new rewards are in phase 2. It feels not so good. Maybe we should do something about this. And then they C6 the character. And so, ladies and gentlemen, you have the biggest creators in the space, people like Brand Online, talking about how the company is doing predatory practices that you shouldn't necessarily support, and then immediately on launch day, they'll just C6 the character. You can probably see what the problem is here. You go ahead, you call out the actions of the company, you talk about why it's bad, and then you proceed to support them in the most ways you possibly could. There's really no way to support Hoyoverse harder for their business decisions than C6 R5ing the character on release. And so you say one thing, you do another. If you see the biggest CCs in the space doing this and basically taking all the bullshit in stride, what's going to happen? You're going to end up with terrible monetization models, terrible event models, and stuff that just doesn't work out for the customers at the end of the day. But when we look at Kuro Games, ladies and gentlemen, they're doing the exact opposite. They're providing quality. They're providing a great experience. They're not nickel and diming you and like basically castrating your ability to fucking play the game with the event rewards and enjoy the new characters. And look what happened. People are spending money on the game. It's amazing what happens. When you provide a quality product, people want to invest in it and people want to play it. So, last line. Beyond the revenue and acclaim, players' growing confidence in the game's long-term development is equally encouraging. You give good feedback, they make the updates, you congratulate them for the feedback, they feel good about the updates, and they just want to keep making more, and they just want to keep making the game better and better. There is no game I've seen like this that progressively just gets better and better every single patch and every single update. The game, quite literally, has been improving in every single way possible. We've always maintained that our results reflect our effort and capabilities. As long as we stay pragmatic and focus on growth, we're confident we can continue delivering exceptional content to surprise and delight our players. Imagine fueling your growth via quality content that players are receiving well instead of predatory practices, like locking quality of life and exploration behind limited banners. There's a reason why Natlan is considered the worst region in gacha gaming, or the worst region in Genshin Impact history. There's a reason for that. And there's also a reason why 2.0 is the most successful version that Wuthering Waves has had yet. Now you can finally see what a good company in the gacha space looks like. And so let's go ahead, let's take a quick look at r/gacha revenue and see what their thoughts were on the matter. We're seeing here WuWa handshaking with ZZZ, blah blah blah, pretty good. Top 5 PS5 JP, we have Wuthering Waves competing right next to Genshin Impact's 5.3 and their super predatory double limited banner event. In Taiwan, Wuthering Waves, and apparently CN has the same purchasing habits. NBA 2K15, 2K25 is somehow in second spot. That's a little bit interesting. I guess they like basketball over there. What else? Congrats to WuWa on its highest revenue day. Mobile doesn't seem to be doing well, unlike PS5, which is doing amazing. Top 2 JP. Holy moly. So I guess we should just keep using mobile revenue as a standard for the entire game, especially when it's clear that it's doing better on basically every other platform. Holy moly. Rocky launch for sure, personally never going back. Well, yo, that's good for us. We don't have to hear you complain about everything. Fantastic update. Yeah, so it turns out that when you look at information like this, when you look at a situation where the CEO himself is telling you what the revenue is, oh, it turns out most people do in fact listen. And it's pretty clear that this whole gacha revenue meme, right? The stuff that's going on with mobile revenue and using that as a basis for the entire performance of the game, I think people are starting to not buy into that very much anymore. And so, Gateo, I know this is like... Gateo is a content creator who's openly racist, has, you know, a lot of problems beyond a fixation with revenue. Looking at these websites is his own personal hobby. And it turns out that pretty much like 90% of his personality is looking at the revenues of games on mobile websites. And it turns out everything about that is wrong. So when you hear this guy make a video, when you hear this guy talk about revenue, and he's only talking about mobile, you don't need to listen to him. He's got no idea what he's saying, and probably, frankly, never will. So let me know what you all think about this, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully this has painted a much brighter view of revenue and the revenue conversation, and can have you taking stupid websites like this a lot less seriously. Because if the CEO himself is telling you that basically the mobile revenue is not a significant piece of the pie, you should probably listen to him and stop using this as a judge of all games. Because if you do, you're stupid. Peace out.